Hi, I'm Ruth Valerio and I'm going to be talking about my new book, Saying Yes to Life, for the Preach Book Club. The concept behind the book is that it's the Archbishop of Canterbury's Lent book. So he invited me to write it for him, and the brief that he gave me was that it's focusing on environmental and poverty issues. He wanted it to be theologically rooted and global in scope. So that was my challenge. And then I set off thinking, how am I going to write a Lent book around those themes? And thinking that Lent is 6 weeks, the idea just came to me in conversation with others that one way to do that might be to take Genesis 1 and the creation story, which obviously is mainly in 6 days. And so the book is focused around those 6 days of creation, and then day 7 is the conclusion as we look at heading towards Easter and Sabbath rest and the resurrection. So each chapter is focused on one of those days of creation and then explores the theme of that day, whether it's light or water or living creatures, human beings, whatever it is, explores that theme from a biblical perspective and then from a contemporary perspective as well. Saying Yes to Life has been designed for Lent, both for individuals to read it, but particularly with the idea that people might form Lent groups and read it together. And some churches, actually I know many churches, many dioceses have taken it on, and whole groups are going to be reading it together. So it's divided into 6 chapters, so can be read 1 chapter for each week, and each chapter finishes with discussion questions. So if you want to read it as part of a group, the questions are already there to help you do that. And then online we've got supporting resources. There's so much information that I could have put into the book, but it would have been a huge tome if I'd done that. So we've got supporting resources, further resources online, and then some amazing filmed interviews that we did. So for each chapter, whatever the theme of that chapter is, I've done an interview with a person of note who's got something really interesting to say about that theme. And those videos are up online as well, and they can be used as part of your study group. You can watch it and then discuss off the back of that. As I was writing the book, my own understanding about God and about his creation really developed, and actually it became such a pleasure writing the book. One of the things that I really loved about writing it was that I wanted to inspire in people a fresh love for this amazing world that we live in. And so in each chapter, whatever the theme is, there are some amazing facts and figures and stories and things about different aspects of the natural world, whether that might be looking at incredible things about trees or the incredible diversity of the creatures that we share this planet with. So I did quite a bit of scientific looking as well, which isn't my natural background, and I just loved what I discovered, some of those amazing things about the natural world. It's been wonderful since it's come out. I've had lots of messages on social media, really positive reviews. I think what people have enjoyed is, or I think what people are enjoying is the weaving together of the biblical and the practical and the contemporary. And one of the emphases of the book is that it's not just UK based, so I draw a lot on thinking and theology from around the world, so from African theologians and indigenous Christian theologians, and people are really enjoying that international global aspect of it as well. My hope is that people will enjoy it, that it's interesting, stimulating and so on, but if it's only an interesting book that people read and then put back on the shelf, then I have failed in my task, because We are facing huge challenges today. We are facing massive challenges around a climate crisis. We are facing huge biodiversity loss, really at an unprecedented scale for being caused by human activity. And we are drowning in plastic. And we are seeing people pushed into poverty because of those things. And we face a massive challenge as human beings and as Christians, and we need to do something about it. So it's not enough just to read the book and have an interesting discussion. The book has got lots of practical ideas in it as well, things that we can do in order to make a difference, and I really hope that it will lead to people taking action. There was lots more that I would have liked to have included in the book around the further resources, organisations for people to look at to help them think through issues more, and to give more ideas for things that people can do. So that's why we created the online resource, so that everything that I couldn't fit in the book we've put online, with the aim that it doesn't then just finish with the book, but people can go online and look at other organisations that they can look at and further things that they can do. This book can be useful for preachers because it gives a really good 6-week or 7-week, if you want to use the conclusion for day 7 as well, but it gives a really good series to help preachers with their church to engage around the issues of poverty and environmental care. And it can help preachers because it is completely biblically based. So this is everything that I write about is coming from Genesis 1 and from what we see there. So each chapter begins with the biblical exploration of the particular verses of Genesis 1, and then a look at how that theme runs through the Bible. So if we're thinking about trees, on day 3, I then, having looked at those particular verses, then go on to look at the place of trees in the biblical story. Not something that we look at very often. I had to do a lot of research for the book because it covers so many different issues, and it looks at things biblically, but then also the scientific side, and then the contemporary issues and how it relates to today. So if we take water for day 2, there's all the biblical reflection, the faith reflection on water, and then also some amazing things around how water works today. But then I wanted to look at what are the water issues. So that's thinking about flooding and droughts, issues of sanitation and health that so many millions of people are facing around the world. So it needed a lot of research. The book is aimed at people all around the world, and that was something I worked really hard at, to make sure that it wasn't completely UK centric in its focus. So just using language around wherever you live in the world, and trying to make sure that my examples weren't all from the UK, and that or if I was using an illustration that other people living in other parts of the world would understand as well, and drawing on thinkers and examples and illustrations and stories from all different countries. So it's not only for people in the UK. And one of the things that I did is each chapter, as well as finishing with discussion questions, also that each chapter concludes with a prayer from a young person from each of the different 6 main habited continents. And I wanted to draw in that focus on young people because they are so important in this, but also it was another way for me to make sure that the book was really global in scope. And so I have a prayer from a young person in the Philippines, and prayer from a young person in Latin America and from Europe, and so on. The content of the book comes from years of experience that I have got writing and speaking around issues of poverty and the environment, and trying to live it out in my own life as well. So I've been talking about our climate crisis probably for about 25 years now, and as a family with 2 daughters, we've had a lot of fun finding ways of trying to respond to that, and I'm really passionate that the young people are now increasingly taking the lead and are showing us the severity of the problem and are calling on us to be taking action. Thank you so much to Preach Book Club for giving me this opportunity to talk about the book. Really hope you'll get it, hope you'll read it, hope you'll read it with others, that it will lead to you taking action, and I hope you enjoy it.